Mark, entry number 23 of Echoes of Home by Steve. Message. And I hope you forgive me for the occasional cough drop break. I do dry out a bit when reading aloud. Another reason to do a reread. Tsu'na was pretty introspective after that talk we had in bed. I haven't brought up the topic again. I assume she will when she's ready and interested. But we do need to discuss the game. Like it or not, it gives an Earth perspective on Eorzea and may be important to inspire some abilities to work and reinforce the paradigm. For example, we haven't tried the Duty Finder yet. It's in our journal. In theory, we should be able to use it to enter dungeon instances, especially since they are in fact instanced. It is reasonable for an instance to manifest for us, since instances manifested on demand in the game. We could try forming a private undersized party, which wouldn't get us any experience, but might yield loot and gil. If nothing else, the loot might be a source of materials from desynthesis. That's just the one that comes to mind. But I figured that before that conversation with Tsu'na happens, I needed to distract her a bit. And we hadn't checked out the bar. There's only one in Wyatt. Hardcore partiers who want variety can head down the road toward Tulsa, or out the road toward Stillwater, or, well, anywhere but Wyatt. But Wyatt could not have a bar, and Wyatt's bar is named The Pit. The Pit of Hell, the Mosh Pit, the Barbecue Pit, the Cherry Pit, I have no idea. I guess I don't particularly care. Perhaps no one does. It's the place with the beer. Faded wood-paneled walls. A dartboard, a jukebox, a cornhole alley, a couple pool tables, a bunch of cheap spindly tables and matching chairs with a few booths, and of course, the bar. Tsu'na and I found stools at the bar. She looked around at all the details. It reminds me of the coffer and coffin. Not Busker's place? She considered. Busker's has more warmth. I nodded. It did. The coffer and coffin in Central Thanaline has a very mission-specific look to it. A place to go and get drunk and forget about whatever the day had involved. This place was similar. Yes, the pool tables were used and the dartboard had holes in it, but it wasn't a very warm place. Certainly no artsy drinks on display and a limited variety of bottles on the shelves. The bartender, at least, made an effort. Hey there, hadn't seen you folks before, new in town? Kinda. I'm Steve, and this is my wife, Tsu'na. The pretzel and pie people. Famous, are we? Small town. I'm Sam. What can I get you? What's on tap? Coors. I smiled and waited a beat. He smiled and didn't continue. Guess I'll have a Coors then. Excellent choice. And for you, ma'am? I will try his first. One Coors coming up. The beer came. My wife brought it to her lips. We waited for the verdict. Do you have Coke? Sam chuckled and headed back down the bar. Tsu'na kept her face pleasant as she leaned close and quietly asked, Do you like that, husband? I smiled back and murmured, I've had worse. Not really my thing, but we're making nice and social. But people do like this beer? People say they do. Maybe it's because it's a cheap way to get drunk. Drunk? Remember when that woman drugged you in Falcon's Nest? Some people like that feeling. Alcohol will do that to you. Helps you not think or care if you don't want to. Also helps you do really stupid stuff and throw up a lot afterward. And fall down unconscious under a table. Happens, yeah. And people find this fun. Some do. Some just want something different from whatever they're experiencing. She pursed her lips as she considered this. The coffer and coffin is more understandable now. Sam brought Tsu'na a Coke. We drank our drinks, her enjoying hers more than I enjoyed mine, and chatted about the things in the room. No pool tables in Eorzea. Throwing weapons at targets is a thing there, but not in the precise manner of darts. Cornhole was nearly incomprehensible to her. I explained half the fun of these games was watching people try them when drunk. I finished my beer and headed off for the bathroom. I was gone for at most 5 minutes. When I came back, I found 3 angry guys crowding my wife at the bar and a 4th one on the floor. Sam was reaching for something under the bar. While I was sure Tsu'na could easily handle all 4 of them, I felt it was my husbandly duty to intervene. I pushed in front of the 3. Hey, back off from my wife. That bitch just knocked Dewey down. Dewey must have been the douche on the floor. I guessed he was the alpha douche who made the first move. That meant the one yelling at me must be beta douche with gamma and delta standing by. I smiled. Sorry. Did you just call my wife a bitch? Look at what you did to Dewey. I glanced back at Tsu'na, who said, he grabbed me and would not let go. I turned back to beta douche. Your friend laid hands on my wife? He was just being friendly. Now get the fuck out of my way. He tried to shove me aside. I wasn't shoved. I kept smiling. Okay, let's just think about this a minute, shall we? My wife put your guy down. So one of 2 things is true here. Either she's stronger than me and you're yelling at her husband, or I'm stronger than her. My smile got a little wider. And you're getting in my face. Beta douche stared at me a moment. Then he did that thing you see on TV where a thug with an entourage is trying to be clever. He looked back at his buddies with a smile, which he used to cover up a wind-up for a punch. He connected to my jaw. I kept smiling. His smile went away. I grabbed his shirt with one hand, hoisted him a foot in the air, and slammed him to the floor through a nearby table. I was still smiling as I looked up at Gamma and Delta douches. Hey, I think your friends have had enough party this evening. Why don't you make sure they get home safe? They looked at me, looked at each other, looked briefly at Tsu'na, and moved to help their fallen comrades leave the field. I turned back to Tsu'na and saw Sam with a baseball bat in his hands. Oh, hey, I'm really sorry about that. I just got carried away with these guys crowding my wife and all. I just wasn't thinking. I didn't mean to break the table. You gonna pay for that? Better. I'll do you one better. We'll make you a new one. It'll be real nice, I swear. That gave him pause. You're gonna make me a table. Yeah, my wife and I work with wood all the time. Just give me a couple days, okay? You'll love it, I promise. Sam didn't seem to know what to do with this. Fine. 2 days, money or a table, or I'm calling the sheriff. Right, sure thing. We'll get right on it. Let's go, my love. Tsu'na stood up and gave Sam a smile. Thank you for the Coke. She took my arm and we headed out of the pit. As we got outside, she murmured, Was that theater, husband? Was I a prop? No, my love, that was a hostile encounter. You were a party member. Yet you did not need to throw that man through the table. You could have thrown him elsewhere. Serendipity, my love. Happy accident. When we come back with a new table, we'll show people how we can do decent woodwork. Might start a new business line. Tactical theater, then. Sure. As Dr. Willoughby said about his cockroach business, first you have to create a market. What is a cockroach? An insect that infests places with food like restaurants and bars. She peered at me. Why would anyone want to buy a cockroach? Well, first you have to create a market. She was going to ask more, but we noticed we had another hostile encounter waiting. The douches had come back armed. Alpha douche had a tire iron, beta douche had a board, gamma douche had a knife, and delta douche had a broken beer bottle. Tsu'na released my arm. I thought about switching to paladin, but before I did, Tsu'na threw something at the douches. It burst with a wet-sounding explosion and covered them with sticky stuff. They didn't react well to that. They thrashed around, getting tangled themselves, their weapons, and each other. I turned to Tsu'na. What the hell was that? My new latex bomb. Do you like it? I totally need the recipe. Of course, husband. We moved in on the douches. Alpha tried swinging his fire iron. I caught it, pulled it away from him, and shoved the round into his gut. One down. Beta tried to swing his board, but it was stuck to his shirt. Tuna yanked it free and swatted him in the knee. He yelled and crumpled. Two down. Gamma was too busy panicking and struggling with the goop to do anything useful. That left Delta, who was apparently the brains of the group because he was standing very still, watching us. I gave him a smile. Hey, guy, want to be a messenger? Messenger? Yeah, I need you to deliver a message to your friends here. Know what the message is? He shook his head. We're here, Cat. Don't fuck with us. You got that? He nodded. Cool. Enjoy your evening. We walked on and left him to deal with the mess. Tuna murmured to me, I am sorry, husband. I did not think this evening would be fun. I was mistaken. I'm wounded from you doubting me. I will try to believe in you in the future. Okay, that was 23. Entry 24 by Tsu'na. Limitations. I pushed a man with my hand and he fell down. Husband picked a man up with one hand and threw him. I have not thought about my strength before. My strength was needed to wear my armor and swing my weapon. My strength versus another strength was never an issue unless I needed to kill them. But this seems to be a world full of people who are not as strong as husband and me. With things made for people not as strong as husband and me. I can perhaps break things easily. I can perhaps break people easily. People here are limited in many ways, though if all people are limited, I suppose husband and I are the unusual ones. Husband took time to compose recipes, but actually made the table in less than 2 hours. Yet he did not deliver it for 2 days, because Earth people need more time than that to make a table. The table could have fit in his inventory. He could simply have taken it out of the bar. Yet he wanted it carried from the Hartman house to the pit, because Earth people do not have inventory. Either of us could carry the table with one hand. Yet he wanted the two of us to carry it together, because Earth people did not have our strength. So many limitations, so many restrictions, all to seem like Earth people. Yet as far as I can tell, Earth people have jobs that pay money. Husband does not seem concerned about money, even though we have very little. Though we were at least able to gather our own food and make our own clothes, which some Earth people can do, but most do not seem to. When we brought the table to Sam at the pit, he looked at it and said, You're kidding, right? I can't afford this. Husband said, Not asking you to. This is a replacement for the one I broke. Yeah, but that was a piece of crap. This isn't. Thank you. I like to think we don't make crap. You really made this. Out of what? Hand-cut maple, linseed oil, glue. Sam bent down to look under the table. No screws, just joints. Well, I mean, if you want, sure, but the rest of the tables are crap too, to be honest. It's kind of nice for this place. Want to replace them too? I can't afford that. Husband smiled. Well, tell you what. Why don't you open up a tab for us, and when you think we've had enough to cover however many tables we do for you, you let us know. That work for you? You seriously want to remodel my place for beer? Honestly, no. Can you get hard cider? Husband calls this networking, establishing connections, building reputation. We're starting to have a reputation as people who work for things other than money and who are willing to pay our debts with labor. And, thanks to that first broken table, as people not to be fucked with. He seems to think this is the sort of Earth person Earth people can understand and accept. It did work with the Hartmans. It seems to work with Sam, and it may be working at the diner and the bar. The pretzels and tarts continue to sell well, and people like the music. And some people compliment Husband and how he put Dewey Brower in his place. Dewey Brower and his friends may not be as accepting, but we have not encountered them since that night. But I tire of restrictions. I miss being able to fly to a distant land, take out my sword or my bow or my grimoire, and hunt dragons or chimeras or bears. Husband says this world has bears. Perhaps we need to look for a higher level area. Entry 25 by Steve. Lightweight. After Tsu'na explained her latex bomb and the rationale behind it, I love this. I'm doing the same thing the struggle is misreading words, even though they're my words. Entry 25 by Steve. Limitations. After Tsu'na explained her latex bomb and her rationale for it, I told her about the idea of crowd control. She went off to the library to research it and came back asking about chili peppers. May's Market didn't have any, so we wound up going back toward Tulsa and hitting a Safeway on the way there. She spent a day messing with recipes and taking face baths until she came up with something she was happy with. Now she has a pepper latex bomb. I pity the fool. Sam, it seems, can get hard cider. I looked online and found OK Cider, Oklahoma's only cider, but Sam managed woodchuck, which was fine. He got a bottle out of the fridge case, brought it to us at the bar, and opened it. We waited again as Tsu'na tasted. When she didn't pass it back to me, we knew we had a winner, and Sam went and fetched me one too. This is not at all like that beer, she said. I know, right? Though it's still alcohol, so go easy with your first one. Sam opened and handed me a bottle. So I've been thinking, you handled yourself pretty well the other night. I could use a bouncer for Friday and Saturday nights. You interested? I looked at Tuna, who asked, what is a bouncer? A guard for a bar. Throws out people who don't behave. She nodded slowly. It is better than escort duty. Anything's better than escort duty. Okay, sure, we're in. Sam's brow wrinkled. We? My wife and I can take turns. I take one night, she takes the other. I don't know if this is a job for a lady. I smiled. Tuna, my love, have you heard of arm wrestling? We moved to the new table. I explained the rules to her and she set her elbow down. Sam probably thought I was humoring the missus, but he sat down opposite her and grasped her hand. I said, be gentle, okay? Sam snorted. I'll try. Go. Sam pushed. He pushed harder. His smile turned into a grimace as he put more and more effort into pushing against Tuna's hand, which simply didn't move. She sat politely for a moment while Sam struggled and asked me, how gentle? Not that gentle. Slam! Maybe more gentle than that. Shit. Fuck. Sam was doing his best not to cuss in front of a lady. Tuna glanced at me. I shook my head. He gripped his shoulder, took a few deep breaths, and managed, job's yours. Cool. Cash or cider? What? Will you be paying in cash, or is this more on the tab? Write your checks. Can't do checks for kind of cash only. He squinted at me through the pane. Actually, tell you what. You got a big shed out back. You using it for anything? Nah, it came with the bar. Think someone had a truck in it or something. Well, we can use the workshop for making the tables and all. How about we fix it up and use it, and you can call that our pay? He stared at me. You work for beer, and you'll bounce for rent. I shrugged. You guys are weird. I smiled. Yeah, sure, whatever, just don't burn it down. Or you'll call the sheriff? Sam snorted, like he'd know what to do with you. He got up and went back to the bar, still working his shoulder. I fetched our bottles from the bar and joined Tsu'na at the table. She took a bowl from hers and leaned in and murmured, Are you thinking of building airships, husband? Well, big project, certainly. What is bigger than an airship? We'll figure that out, won't we? She nestled against my shoulder. The cider is cold. Why does it make me feel warm? I wrapped my arm around her. That'll be the alcohol. Maybe I should get you to bed. She rested a hand on my chest. What is wrong with here? Definitely the alcohol. Kiss her lightweight. Does that mean you will carry me? Support, my love. I got her to her feet. I will always support you. Perhaps I want to be carried. I am leveling in alcohol. She didn't stagger. She was just warm and cuddly. Still, as I got her outside, I couldn't resist the impulse. I scooped her off her feet. She giggled and rested her head against my shoulder. Carry me forever, husband. To the ends of the earth, my love. Good to get that reaction. Maybe I need some of that fancy breath spray the theater people use. Then again, Struggle was using cough drops too, or whatever that Japanese thing he was eating. Entry 26 by Tsu'na. Experiment. Husband insists I should be aware of the game. I have not wanted to think about it, but he says it will give better understanding of who and what we are in this world, so I allowed him to show me what he wants me to see. I know I got stronger as I trained in Eorzea. My abilities got more effective. Better weapons and armor helped with this. I did not think about how much stronger I got. I was mostly concerned with being better at what I did. More strength to better fight monsters. New armor that was better than old armor. There are numbers in our journals, but I never looked at them. Husband put an app on his phone that showed him the numbers for his different characters. He showed those numbers to me. A level 2, a level 2 Hero Thaumaturge, new to older, who would never likely cast a spell, had a strength of 14. A level 10 Gladfell Gladiator, who had fought out in the field, had a strength of 42. As a level 60 monk, my strength was 997. I'm a level 80 monk now. I am more than 100 times as strong as I was when I left the ship in Limsa Lominsa. This is insane. Husband thinks the average Earth person is perhaps the equivalent of level 10 at most and has never fought anything. Unusually strong or talented ones may be level 20. We may be stronger than anyone in the world. There is a wooden writing tool on the desk here. I pick it up. It is light as a feather. I hold it between thumb and forefinger. I squeeze hard. The wood crumbles. How did I get this strong without knowing or appreciating it? How did I not break things? Did I simply never learn or think to use my strength on ordinary things? Did I somehow know that this is the strength to hold a grape as opposed to holding a sword? Did it never occur to me to hold small things too hard? This is yet another thing I need to learn about my body, along with how alcohol affects me. It felt nice to have husband carry me. The cider made me feel warm and sleepy, though I also remember not being able to easily walk to the door without husband holding me. I do not remember getting home or getting into bed, but I was very thirsty when I woke in the morning. Husband called me a lightweight. Google says a lightweight is a small boxer, but for a lightweight drinker, lightweights have receptors that overreact to even the smallest amount of alcohol. Perhaps that is me. The only alcohol I remember drinking was wine with one dinner in Costa del Sol. It was different from the cider, and the glass of wine was less liquid than the bottle of cider. I do not remember the wine affecting me the same way. I do worry, though, that if I cannot walk well after cider, I might not be able to fight well either. Husband likes experimenting, so I experimented. I got 2 ciders from Sam and took them home. I had to go back to the pit to find out how to open them. Sam showed me how a bottle opener works and lent me one. He was friendly about it, but he looked concerned. I do not know why. When I got home, I drank 1 bottle. As sweet as it is harder to drink quickly than to sip slowly as I did at the pit, but I wanted the effect to be quick so I could study it. The effect was stronger after finishing the bottle. I felt dizzy and confused. I tried to stand up and instead sat back down. My plan had been to switch to white mage and use esuna on myself, but I could not concentrate on switching. I instead used an antidote, though it took longer than usual to find it in my inventory. The antidote worked on the alcohol. Perhaps alcohol qualifies as a poison. My head was steady and clear, and I could focus on things again, but I did burp a lot afterward. I think the cider has bubbles in it, though not as much as the beer. I prepared better for the second bottle. I switched to white mage beforehand. I also set an antidote on the table so I would not need to find one again. I could not make myself drink more cider right away, though. The antidote made me more alert and steady, but my stomach felt bad at the thought of more cider. Perhaps this is why beer is bitter rather than sweet, so that people can drink more of it. So there should be other choices. Esuna helped calm my stomach. The screen that talked about lightweight drinkers mentioned drinking water too, so I had a glass full of water before trying the cider again. Perhaps the water affected the cider because I did not get as dizzy as quickly, though I was not able to drink as quickly the second time as my stomach still reacted to the tart sweetness. When I finished the bottle, I thought I might vomit. I thought I should do this in the bathroom, but I had the same problem getting up. My staff helped, but I was not sure if I could walk. Casting esuna was harder after alcohol. I had to concentrate on exactly what I was doing. The first time I tried, I lost my focus and the spell failed. I closed my eyes, pressed my brow to my staff, and in a way, tried to push the spell to work. It was slow, but not like being under slow, because it was slow from my condition rather than from something being done to me. As soon as it cleared my head and settled my stomach, but I started slowly feeling dizzy again. Esuna is not an antidote. It did not take the alcohol out of me. I drank the antidote on the table before I was completely affected again. I sat on the couch for a while, then went to the kitchen for more water. This will be a problem in the future. I do not want to drink so much alcohol in public that I cannot act if something happens. And while I liked the taste of the cider and the warmth of a little of it, I do not know if I want to drink alcohol at all. It is perhaps something I can do with husband in private. I likely should consult with husband about further experimenting. Just for the record, that was not a prohibitionist moral stance. But she has taken the scientific mindset to heart. Entry 27 by Steve. Esuna. I said fix it up. Maybe I should have said completely rebuilt. From a distance in the twilight of evening, you can see there's a heap of building there. Closer up with better light, you can see there's pieces of rusty corrugated metal pretending to be something with structural integrity. I don't know if the blown leaves are the only reason I can't see holes in the roof. I've heard Oklahoma is in Tornado Alley, but that makes me wonder where this shed was hiding when one blew through. I think the siding is steel. We can't patch or replace steel yet because we haven't worked out how to make steel. Iron we have plenty, but our steel recipe requires bomb ash and there's no correction. I am not aware of the presence on Earth of the fiery and occasionally explosive gas-bite creature known in Eorzea as a ball. But bomb ash is one of the creature drops in Eorzea that can be mined. I guess they're a type of fossil. So we might be able to find bomb ash in the same sort of climate that is found in Eorzea, which around here might mean the Oklahoma Panhandle, also known as the home of Black Mesa, the Oklahoma Badlands, and the epicenter of the Dust Bowl of the 1930s. Pretty miserable spot, but then so Sagoli Desert in southern Thanaland. Bit of a drive, not a common bus route, poor camping prospects. So, derelict cars. Desynthesize the parts for steel. Maybe make a deal with junk cars to do metal reclamation. Probably more rust and metal out in the wild, but as long as there's some and it's free, still a gain. Or we can just redo the whole shed in wood. Tsu'na thought I wanted the shed for projects. At this rate, the shed is the project. I headed into the pit to tell Sam what I had in mind, but he had something to tell me. Hey, your wife ain't a heavy drinker, is she? Far as I know, that cider was like the second drink she's ever had. Why? She came and got a couple bottles and left. Weren't for the two of you? I had no idea where the lead might have been that I needed to follow. I tried anyway. Might be. I'm heading home anyway. Thanks. She was indeed at the Hartman place, curled up on her side on the couch in her white mage gear, her staff lying next to her. Her eyes tracked me as I came in, but she didn't move. You okay, my love? I am trying not to vomit. I noticed two empty cider bottles on the coffee table. You've been drinking? I wanted to see if I could cure being drunk. Oh, that makes sense. And? An antidote works. Esuna does not. Yeah. Esuna only clears one status effect, but alcohol is like horrible breath. You've got 3 or 4 status effects at once. Plus, if there's any left in your stomach, you're just going to get drunk again. Water slowed it down. Food slows it more. But still, once you drink it, you're committed. I settled next to her on the couch and stroked her back. Sam was worried about you. I saw that. Why? He's an alcohol professional, and drinking by yourself is a bad sign. New research task. Look up alcoholism. She squinted up at me. Is that a social movement? Not in the sense you mean. No, alcohol is addictive if you drink too much of it too often. Some of that's physical, some of it's emotional. Yet people find it fun. Yeah, some do. How can they drink enough? One bottle made me ill. You get used to it, a little at a time. You build up a tolerance. Do I need to? Might be a good idea for social situations, but there's people who never drink at all. Whatever you prefer. I will think about it. She closed her eyes. Carry me to bed again, please. I didn't tell her it would be way too easy to get used to doing that. Sound check? I just noticed I was a little far away from the mic. Extra awe. Did I mention I grew up not liking romance stories? Hated them. Yet I wrote a bunch of them as if it was my way of saying, this is how I feel like writing a romance story. So I'm writing this book. It's supposed to be, double isekai. It's supposed to be adventure. It's got some action. It's got urban fantasy in it. People told me I wrote a romance. I had no idea. Ah, entry 28 by Tsu'na, bouncing. We still have not yet found dark matter or a mender. Since that makes repairing difficult, husband has suggested we work with simpler tools we can replace as we need, rather than wear out our best tools. I agree. We do not need the finest adamantite saw to do the simple carpentry husband proposes for Sam said. We will need ash and elm to make tools, though. I looked up alcoholism. I understand Sam's concern now, though surely he sees many alcoholics if people go to his bar as often as it seems. Perhaps he did not want to see a new one. That would be kind of him. Alcoholism comes from drinking alcohol, but drinking alcohol comes from different things. Alcoholism itself is a large topic that talks about other large topics. Depression is a large topic about being unhappy, again coming from different things. People can become unhappy when many bad things or a few large bad things happen to them so that they cannot easily forget or live with it. People can also become unhappy because their bodies make them so. Alcohol makes them think they do not need to think about these things. I do not think I am unhappy. I am not in my home, but my home is with husband. I do not know many things about this world, but I am discovering them. I do not see as many different types of people as I did in Eorzea, but I am seeing more in the people I do see. Are they unique and diverse? That word comes from Google, word for how people are different. It is odd that I never used it in Eorzea when there are so many races there. I look at the screen as I type these things. I do not think I am unhappy, but I think I am missing something. I see husband with his projects. He finds them very easily. His networking, his crafting, his storytelling, he seems to often be thinking of what the next thing is that he should do. Word for thinking into the future? Foresight. Perhaps that is something I need. Perhaps husband and I need to think about together about these things. Or perhaps I need to think about them for myself. Word for doing something for myself? Make something of yourself. Become successful through your own efforts. I should think about this, and I should do it without alcohol. I took my first turn at bouncing last night. Hello, Sam. Evening. I am not an alcoholic. Good to know. You were concerned about the cider. Hey, not my business as long as you're safe and stuff. Probably shouldn't drink while you're working, though. Not even Coke? Sam chuckled and got me Coke. You gonna be okay by yourself tonight? Do we need to arm wrestle? No, I just. Never mind. What do I need to do? Break up any fights to start? Anyone causes trouble, get them to knock it off. If they don't knock it off, put them out the door. What do I do if none of that happens? Anything you want. Steve was making the rounds, getting to know people. I am not my husband. May I read? Sure. I sat at the bar and read. The Hartmans have some storybooks I'm looking at. Several by someone named Zane Grey that sounds like life in Thanalan. My hearing is better than that of a Hur. Husband thinks it is because my ears are bigger. Even with my beret on, I could hear someone talking to Sam at the end of the bar. Hey, heard you got a new bouncer. Yeah, that's her over there. Her? That skinny little thing? Yeah, she's tougher than she looks. Kinda cute. Think I got a shot with her? I don't recommend it. She's married and her husband's tough too. Yeah, can't hurt. Send a beer down that way. I did not look up as a man approached. He sat on the stool next to me. Hey, little lady, what's your name? I looked up and met his eyes. I stared at him a moment. His eyes seemed empty somehow, and his smile did not seem real. Tsu'na. Tsu'na, huh? Interesting. Where are you from? Far away. I think he thought he was courting me. He asked me questions. I gave simple answers. I thought he would tire of this, but he did not seem to notice my lack of interest. Perhaps it was alcohol. He put his hand on my arm. I'm sure Sam won't mind if you took a break. Why don't we go out back and grab a smoke or something? Sam was watching us as he cleaned glasses. He did not interfere. This was mine to deal with. Please remove your hand. Oh, now don't be like that. His hand got tighter. I knocked his arm away. I stood and followed husband's example by grabbing his shirt and lifting him by a fold. Sam shouted, "Not the new table!" He was right. The table husband had built was very sturdy. The man would have been hurt if I tried to throw him through it. But the nearest old table was far enough away that I would have needed to carry the man to it. I did not want to. I tossed the man away into a clear space. He sat down hard on the floor and stared up at me. You will not touch women without their permission. He kept staring with his mouth hanging open. Do you hear me? Yeah, uh, yeah. When a woman tells you to stop touching her, you will stop. Do you understand? He nodded. Good. Enjoy your evening. I went back to the bar and quietly asked Sam, did I do that correctly? Yeah, fine. I will move the older tables closer to the bar. Okay. I went back to reading. No one else caused trouble that evening. Excuse me while I find a slightly different position. That's better. Sam's just like, oh dear God, what have I got myself into? Yeah, I kind of needed a foil for that very reason. Something I once learned in an interview from people who do the Blue Man Group, you got to have three people, two of whom think the other is unusual. But it works the other way, too. Entry 29 by Steve, Regeneration. It's annoying not having the areas of gathering data in our journals. We don't exactly need it in this world, but looking up where something was found in Eorzea will give us an idea of where we should look for it here. Fortunately, there's a couple good-sized FF14 wikis out there, so we can look stuff up anytime we have internet, which isn't middle of nowhere Oklahoma, so we need to do research before we go out. Random find on Reddit, Final Fantasy XIV surpasses 24 million players, becomes most profitable Final Fantasy game in a series. The Mythic Realm theory gains credence. I showed you the sites as I looked up Ash and Elm. Both are found in the Central Shroud, which is a mix of stuff: hills and cliffs and streams and lakes and swamp and chocobo meadow, and a barren rocky patch with a cavern. Nothing with that kind of variety around Wyatt, but northeast of Tulsa is near the edge of the Ozarks. Maps I could find online suggested we might find all that there, minus the chocobos. It was a bit cooler there. Good for keeping each other warm in the tent. Also not as taxing when we got down to the actual harvesting during the day. It didn't take long to find nodes for ash, along with chanterelle, which is used to make potions. The elm nodes weren't very far away, but instead of the Tinoco mistletoe we'd normally find with it, there was Tulsa mistletoe. That might not work for ether, but then we don't have implane either. Not counting on Batwing working as a substitute, but we can only try. We harvested a goodly amount of both kinds of wood, and since harvesting is a pretty mindless activity, it made for conversation. So, how was your first night as a bouncer? I think it went well. I only threw one person. The rest behaved. Cool. Though they may need to learn to relax around you now. Did you get to know them? The only one I talked to was the one I threw. He touched me more than I wanted. How much was that? At all? Gotcha. Yeah, a female bouncer may need a different dynamic. Is bouncing the best use of our skills, husband? Define best. If you mean what will bring in the most money, no. We could do better with a fight club. What is a fight club? Like an arena. There's professional fight clubs and fighting championships, but the big names ones would take ID, and we get a lot more publicity than we probably want right now. But there's also private ones. They range from buncho guys in a parking lot to some basement room somewhere. Those aren't legal, which means they pay in cash. Who pays? I think for the parking lot, it's more of a duel. Each fighter puts up his bet. For the private rooms, there will be someone taking bets on both fighters and paying the winner out of the house winnings. What are the rules? For private fights, there might not be any. That's why they're illegal. She chopped wood for a while in silence as she considered this. We are stronger than the people in this world, as far as I can tell. So this fighting should be easy. If anything, it might be hard not to kill them by accident. Not killing them is a rule? Not necessarily in the illegal ones. Even in the legal ones, it happens sometimes. But we should probably try not to. Losers get nothing? In the legal ones, both fighters get something, and I think the winner gets a bonus. Not sure about the illegal ones. It must be awkward coming back for one's pay after being sent home. Sent home? Regenerating at their home point. I stopped chopping. Right. We hadn't had this conversation yet. We really should have. Earth people don't regenerate. She stopped chopping. What? Earth people don't regenerate. They don't have home points. She stared at me. What happens when they die? They're dead. They're gone. They return to the ether? I suppose that's possible. You do not know? Different religions claim different things. We don't have. I am not aware of there being an actual expert on the subject. What about NPCs? There are no NPCs. No NPCs. At all. No. Any person you see is a unique individual with a name and parents and everything, who, if they die, will stay dead. The next question was obvious. She didn't want to ask it. For that matter, neither did I. It took her a moment to make herself do so. What about us? Well, we have a home point, so we will hopefully regenerate there. Hopefully. Yes. You do not know. No. Her eyes lost focus. She sat down slowly on the leaf-covered ground. She stared at the hatchet in her hands as if she had no idea what it was. I holstered my hatchet and sat down beside her. I put my arm around her shoulders. She didn't move. In time, she quietly asked, "How long have you known this?" People here tend to learn about death kind of young. They're usually told about what their parents' religion says. People generally try not to think about it too much. You thought about it in Eorzea, did you not? You were so afraid at first, so careful, until the first time you died. Then I thought you were reckless. I was kind of blown away by my coming back from death. She raised her eyes to look at me. But things are different now. We are Earth people now. I don't think we really are. You know how fast we heal. Earth people don't heal that fast. And we can return, and we have our skills and our inventory. I don't think we're normal Earth people. But you do not know. No, I don't know. Why did you not tell me sooner? Honestly, I didn't think about it. Earth people try not to think about death. I could have lost you. I could still lose you. I brushed my lips against your hair, and I could lose you. We sat quietly for a while, heads together. There was a bit in my stomach that I could not decide was new or not. It might have been a background worry I'd had for a while, especially the first time I saw Tsu'na use return. As for her, she might never have had to think about death seriously before now, certainly not after her first attunement. After a bit, she reached up toward her chest and grasped something. She held out her hand in front of us, showing a glowing orange crystal. I still have Heidel's gift, husband. Do you? I'd forgotten about it. It's not in my inventory. I hardly ever thought about it except when the story demanded it. I didn't know where it was if I still had it. But I followed her example, raised a hand to my chest and tried to grasp something that wasn't there. And it was. A matching crystal. I think we will be all right. Willing to believe that, but let's not try to find out too soon, okay? She nestled against me. What would you do if you lost me? I'd want to burn the world. You would make Earth my funeral pyre? Yeah, and if that wasn't enough, I'd find another world and burn it too. She sighed. If I lost you, I would want to kill anyone who dared to be more happy than me. Tears and lamentations for all? Yes, I would raise an army of the sad. For the sake of the world, let's try not to die. Let us drink to that. She produced a bottle of cider. I got these after bouncing. They stay cold in inventory. Cool. Did you bring an opener? She started laughing. Softly at first, then harder. I held her as she laughed way past the point of it being funny. When the laughter subsided, I released her, switched to Paladin, and used the edge of a gauntlet scale to peel back the bottle cap. That is clever. I shall remember that. Or you can pack an opener. I will pack an opener. She took a long sip and handed the bottle to me. Her eyes wandered over the woods around us. Do we have enough wood? I think I would like to return to the tent. We spent a long time simply clinging to each other. The crystal was reassuring. If we still had that piece of Eorzea, we probably had the regeneration piece too. But I still never want to lose her, and I didn't want to be even an inch away from her right then. For the sake of the world, let's try not to die. You think that's a quotable? Should I put it in the blurb? I'm sure it'll be totally misconstrued. Very sweet. Glad to oblige, Jerry. He touched me more than I wanted. How much was that at all? Been there. I know this is true. I've seen it happen. It gets depicted on TV. I still have no first-hand experience of it, and therefore all I can do is sympathize and try to convey it in fiction. Hello, Nick. Goodbye, Nick. Thanks for being on the job, Jerry. That guy touched me more than I wanted to be touched. Entry 30 by Tsu'na. Killing. Carpentry in this world is much slower without Eorzean skills. There are many details to worry about. There are more parts to put together. There is more measuring and cutting. The maple boards we make are of a general size for assembly in Eorzea crafting, but to make the wall panels husband envisions we need boards of a specific size. Husband bought a tape measure from Amazon and spent much time measuring the shed as it is, then laid out boards side by side and measured them too, marking them with a pen. The sides of the shed are not square, so some boards needed to be marked at an angle. After all the boards were marked, we used the saws we had made to cut along the lines. Hmm. Husband got some empty beer kegs from Sam and put them side by side to make a sort of table, which helped with sawing. We had also made iron rivets which we used to fasten some boards across other boards to hold the panels together. Most of the work was simple and zen-like, which gave me time to think. And after the gathering trip, what I mostly was thinking about was death. I have faced bandits and sea reavers and Garlean soldiers in Eorzea, and I have killed them. After a while, they were replaced by people who looked exactly like the ones I had killed. I never truly thought about who they were or where they came from, whether they had names or families, much less whether their replacements did. These people without identity were what husband called NPCs, and, like the various beasts or voidsent in the wilderness, monsters. Then there were people with names and families, but who still did not seem to have the freedom of husband and me. They would stay where they were. They would say particular things. If talked to more than once, they would say those things again. Husband called these NPCs too, but not monsters. I saw some of these people die. In some cases, like my sensei, I was who killed them. They did not return in time, but husband said he saw them too as part of the story. When one of us but not the other could see a person, he called it phasing. I had heard from experts on the ether that when we die, we return to the etheric stream to be made into something new, and that it was Heidelman's blessing that allows us to return to our home point, like how the Ashians return to their space between. So why is it different in Earth? Is it simply because it is a different world? Are there rules to worlds that are so different between them? And what creates these rules? Does husband create them? He has been so careful with some of the things he has said. He has said he does not want to think of things as impossible, and he does not want me to think of things as impossible. He wants me to be able to do things so that he can observe it and do them too. So he says things like, I am not aware this exists, or I have not seen that happen. So he can observe when I make them happen and follow the pattern. Yet he did not say, I am not aware of NPCs. He said, there are no NPCs. He did not say, I have not seen Earth people respawn. He said, Earth people do not respawn. I have observed this pattern. I think either he somehow knows Earth people respawning is impossible, or he does not want it to be possible and thinks telling me it is impossible will make it so. I spent the day with him sawing and riveting. In that time I could not think of why he would not want people to respawn. Would it not be good for loved ones to stay? For people to not die accidentally? I still did not have an answer when I came to the library to type, so I Googled instead. Death brought me writings about religion and philosophy and ads for funeral homes. Dying got me information on medicine and references to aging, which was more medicine, more religion, more philosophy, and hospice care. Killing came closer to answering my question. I found reports of people shooting people in temples, reports of people bombing people in airships, reports of people stabbing people in marketplaces, reports of people poisoning people in restaurants and train stations. Earth people seem to kill each other often and easily. If the killer easily recovered from dying, there might be no end to his killing. If the killed easily recovered, the killer might not see killing them as wrong. The killer might even think of it as a game. A game, like Eorzea, where people play Final Fantasy XIV to kill things. This might be husband's reason. Taking away dying as a thing to fear could mean taking away killing as a thing to avoid. This world could become a battleground, even more so than it seems to be. But I waited on typing before talking with him, which I did in bed after our diner work. Husband. Yes, my love? What are the rules about killing? He was quiet for a while, playing with my hair as he stared at the ceiling. I waited. I am not aware of there being rules in the universe. Most religions have laws coming from a god or a god's representative, and societies tend to make laws about things they don't want to happen. Most don't want killing to happen, though there's often exceptions regarding people outside their particular group. Of course, laws don't really prevent action, they just provide a basis for punishing people who break them. That being said, there's professions like doctor, or police officer, or soldier where killing is part of the job. That being said, some of those professions aren't good at their job or take advantage of it, and people die for bad reasons. Generally, it's all about intent. Did you say doctors kill? They have to make decisions about life and death. Sometimes they have more than one person to save, but can't save all of them and have to decide who they'll try to save. Sometimes there's someone who, how do I put this, whose body is alive but who might never wake up. A doctor may be asked to decide whether people should wait for the person to wake up or just let them die. I considered that. It seemed like a lot of power for any person to have. I do not think I want to ever need a doctor. He chuckled. With our healing skills, we might never need one. Anyway, does any of that help? I am not certain. When should we kill? When can we kill? Well, there's lots of philosophy and morality and legal stuff online. Best I can give you is my opinion. Please give me your opinion. Okay. I feel everyone has a right to live, and if someone takes away someone else's right to live, he forfeits his own. Especially since if he's killed once, it means he's willing to kill and therefore might kill again. So taking down the killer both punishes the killer and improves society by removing it. What about killing us? If we cannot die, if we respawn at our home point, should someone trying to kill us die? Doesn't matter. It gets back to intent. If he's willing to try to kill us, he may be willing to try to kill someone else later. We wouldn't be defending ourselves as much as defending people in the future. It was a rather simple opinion. He spoke of intent. I think I understood his. It was something to start with. Still, what if I am not certain? Well, how about this? You asked me if we should make some guilt. That work for you? It works for me. I do not know if I will ever need to kill someone in this world. I do not know whether or why someone would try to kill us. But husband's opinion gave me a principle to think about. It let me sleep last night.